is up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of the Hammer Klogs. I am Mike the Hammer K from Order of Tier. I know before I said that I was going to talk about 32-bit all the way till now, but my list is gigantic, so I'm going to kind of cut that in half a little bit. I'm going to go 32-bit up to Dreamcast. Disclaimer! A lot of these games are actually remakes of older games. I just happen to own them on a later console, or maybe I got rid of the earlier game, which is the case with some of them. So yeah, this is Earthworm Jim 2 for Sega Saturn. The soundtrack for this game is pretty sweet. It's I mean, it's obviously a CD game, so they were able to redo all the music that's that was in the original game for the Genesis and Super Nintendo, and actually have like a band play it and stuff like that. And there's a lot of extra things in this game as compared to the 16-bit version, and it's just I like the experience of this game better. All the colors are more vibrant. And that is a thing with the Sega Saturn. As far as graphics go, it and the PS1 were constantly fighting for that spot of who has the better graphics or whatever, but ultimately PS1 had a better 3D rendering deal, while the Saturn was better at 2D games and side-scrollers and stuff like that. But yeah, Earthworm Jim 2. Clockwork Knight 1 and 2. This is actually one game. Imagine, if you will, being a little child and playing this game and then getting to the end, and then all of a sudden it says, "To be continued." Really? Legitimately, this game has a cliffhanger at the end, and it says, "To be continued." It might as well just say, "Go buy the next game." But anyway, this is a pretty sweet side-scroller. Most people have not heard of it, but it's incredibly fun. Basically, you're a little toy knight, and you're trying to save a princess, and you make your way through a house to get to the attic where the princess has been kidnapped. So yeah, really cool game. Albert Odyssey. Most people have never heard of this, but it's a Working Designs game, and Working Designs was one of the big RPG makers back in the day. They made a lot of Sega CD RPGs and stuff like that. It's the first game where I experienced profanity within a game, so that was pretty mind-blowing for me. It was also my exposure to cute anime girls. Next! Megaman X4. This was probably the last X game where they didn't start introducing a ton of gimmicks. I love the music, I love the graphics. Megaman X4. How could I talk about Sega Saturn without talking about Knights? Knights is a really innovative game by Sonic Team. It's kind of hard to explain without playing it. It's a 2.5D game, which means it's a side-scroller, but it's in 3D. You're this Knights duder, and you fly through all these rings. It sounds kind of lame, but it is an extremely innovative idea, and it's a beautiful environment. And I'm really going to stop saying the music is awesome, but the music was awesome. Finally, Mega Man 8. This was the last, I guess, traditional Mega Man game. Before they started going back and doing 9 and 10 for XBLA and PSN and WiiWare and all that. It's a very, very colorful game, and if you like the original Mega Man games, then this is like your dream game. I mean, it's not very like retro. If you're into Mega Man X and that's your thing, then you probably won't like it. The original games were obviously a lot slower than the X games, but if you like the original games, I'd definitely check this one out. Next, I'm moving on to a game that I'm just going to have floating right here because I don't actually own it. I own it on PSN, but yeah, I don't own the original version. And this game that I'm currently looking at right now, and through video magic it will exist when you see this, is the original Silent Hill game. Silent Hill is it's a survival horror game, and if you've seen the movie, it's not like the movie. Even though the movie is pretty good, the game is so much better than the movie. As if that isn't the story with everything else.
Where are we? I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
Anyway, next. This is actually a two-parter game, but the game I'm talking about is on disc 2 of this collection, and that would be Chrono Trigger. How could I leave Chrono Trigger out of my list, you might have said, from my last clog? Well, the reason is because I own it on PlayStation and on Super Nintendo. Frankly, because I didn't really play the game until later on when it wasn't so new, and to get a copy of this on eBay, yeah. So anyway, Chrono Trigger, another one of my favorite RPGs. mixing RPG with time travel. And time travel just really knows the combination to my heart. Yes, I'm going to be extremely stereotypical and include Final Fantasy VII on this list. One of the greatest game composers ever did the music for this, as well as so many of the other Final Fantasies. And it is just mind-numbing to hear some of the music that is in this game. And since I didn't really play this until after the fact, still about the Dreamcast days, the graphics weren't as impressive, obviously, but thinking back on it, it was really incredible thinking how they mixed the video sequences with the graphics in the game. And for me, that was a pretty awesome combination, and it really comes off very well artistic. Now I'm going to dive into N64. This would be Super Mario 64. Need I even explain this? I got all 120 stars in this game and met Yoshi on the roof of the castle. And then I still was not bored with it. And so I was convinced that Luigi was in this game. So glitch after glitch after glitch, I tried all these different things to try to find Luigi in this game. He's not in the game. Next, GoldenEye 007. This is probably the first game that gave me that whole experience of let's get a group together and sit around a TV and eat pizza and drink Coke and scream at each other while we try to kill it. Next, Mario Kart 64. I really haven't liked any of the Mario Karts recently past this one. This was another one of those games that I just kept playing and playing and playing, and even after I beat it, I would not stop playing the game. But yeah, I guess this is the last Mario Kart game that I felt like it wasn't all gimmicked out. There's some cheap stuff in those newer games, especially when you play them online against those...
Malfunction, Stephanie.
This is The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. This is my favorite Zelda game. I'm sorry, Link to the Past is good, Wind Waker's good, even though I haven't finished it, and Twilight Princess is pretty awesome. But the Ocarina of Time will always hold a special place in my heart. Phantasy Star Online version 2. This one is basically just an expansion pack for this one, and you just use this disc, so this one doesn't really matter anymore. This entire game is instanced, so basically everybody is chilling on this ship, and they get a team together, and then they get beamed down into the world, and then they do these missions, and I guess that could seem kind of boring, and it's not as in-depth as something like World of Warcraft is, but it was definitely an awesome experience. Especially being on a console back in 2000. That was pretty awesome considering none of the other consoles connected to the internet back then. Virtual On, Oratorio Tangram! If you haven't played Virtual On, it's a very fast mech fighting game. And it is on XBLA. I don't know if it's on PSN. Even if it was on PSN, you couldn't download it right now. I know, I just trolled myself too. Shenmue. This was a game that started in development for the Sega Saturn originally, but it just turned into so much of a federal project that the Saturn just could not handle the sheer magnitude of this game. And so eventually it came out for the Dreamcast. But yeah, you're this dude, Ryo Hazuki, cruising around the streets trying to find the dude that killed your father. As you can tell from the case, this is a multi-disc game. So it is pretty long. It's one of those, it's a Japanese action RPG. But most definitely worth the play if you have never played this. Finally, Sonic Adventure 2. The first Sonic Adventure, going back and playing it now, it hasn't aged very well, to say the least. But this game, on the other hand, everything about it was awesome to me. Jun Seno did pretty much the majority of the music in this game, I'm pretty sure, as well as in the first Sonic Adventure. But it has that really 80s heavy rock feel to all the music, which is pretty sweet. It actually had a pretty effective story, and I really enjoyed the story. Not just because I'm obsessed with Sonic, but I think it was legitimately good writing. Oh, did I mention this was the first game that Sonic could actually grind on rails in? They were actually sponsored by soap. You know, soap shoes. Remember when that was a thing? So this two-part episode has just become a three-parter because apparently I like video games. Be sure to check out the Clog next week for the grand finale of my favorite video games. So, until next time, deuces.